Hello everybody, it's Kim. If you recall in my previous video, I bought this 10-pound bag of chicken leg quarters for $6.35. Well, somebody asked me how I make bone broth. So as I showed you in the previous video, I like to cut them into pieces and I remove the bones because there's a lot of meat left on these bones. And they will leave the extra piece here, which is the rib portions, and I want to get all the meat off as possible. So I'll take those and I'll throw them in my crock pot along with all of my onion peels that I saved. I saved the peelings off of carrots, garlic skins, any type of celery that I have, any kind of vegetables that you would like to use in a chicken broth. So I take that and I add however much water I'm going to add, usually, probably 2 or 3 quarts, and I cook the daylights out of it on pressure for about 30 minutes. I take my spider and I strain everything out of it. I go back and I pick off every little piece of meat that I can find. And in this case, I ended up with right at 8 ounces of meat that was just on those bones. Once I do that, I throw all the stuff back in the crock pot except for the bones. I take those to my air fryer and I will roast those at 450 degrees for 15 to 20 minutes. And they get really beautiful, dark golden brown, and it just does amazing things for your broth. Once I'm done with that, I put those back in the crock pot. I turn it on slow cook for 20 hours or so. It could be 10, 20, whatever. I do everything overnight. And those bones will just add the most delicious flavor. After that's done, I strain out everything out of that broth completely. And this is everything I had left. This is my smallest little Pyrex bowl. And that's all the scraps that I got out of that entire 10-pound bag. But let me show you how amazing this broth turned out because I roasted those bones. It makes the most delicious golden colored broth ever. It just adds so much extra flavor. So if you have the time and you really want to take your soup to the next level, make sure you roast those bones. Once that is done, I put it back in the refrigerator and I let it sit overnight so that all of this fat here can solidify on the top. I then scrape it up and you will see that there's quite a good amount of fat, but the broth itself, it's kind of thick, almost like a gelatin. That's all the collagen that came off the skin and it came off those bones, and it just adds so much flavor to everything. I will then take the fat itself and I will remelt that. I know it's a lot of work, but I want to make sure that if there's anything stuck, any of this broth stuck to the bottom, that I can get it off. And what will happen is that'll once you melt it, the broth sinks to the bottom, fat, floats to the top, and you'll be easily able to separate it. And I save this fat to use in a lot of my cooking. Then I go back one last time and I use my smallest strainer and I will strain out the little bit of sediment that's at the bottom of the pan. And you do not have to waste that. Let me tell you, it has all the little bits of meat, little bits of onion, little bits of garlic, all those little particles. They really, really are delicious. So you don't have to waste them. I will take that and I will go to my pan and add some rice, the broth that I strained out. You can use white rice or brown rice, and you could cook that together, white rice for 20 minutes, brown rice for about 40 minutes, and it makes the most delicious rice you will ever taste. You could eat it as is, and this is what it looks like. Doesn't look like a whole lot, but let me tell you, that flavor is amazing. You could simply make fried rice out of it. Super, super simple. Because you have all that chicken flavor. You don't have to add hardly anything. So anyway, let me know what you think.